So I'm Ali Maloney. I'm a physiotherapist working for Barking and for Essie Dons on the grassroots side. I also work for the NHS as a physiotherapist as well in the specialist rehab unit. Yeah, that's me pretty much. I've always loved football. I've always loved the idea of being involved in sport, and I figured out at about 16 that I couldn't play for England men's because I wasn't a man and very good at football, which is a shocker for me. And then I thought, okay, how can I be involved in football or without being a good footballer? And I had a look around and was in that process doing that, and I found unfortunately my granddad had a stroke in St Lucia at the time, and he come back home walking. I was like, oh wow, that's amazing. How did you manage to get walking? And told him about what physiotherapy was. Looked into it, went, hang on a minute, this could be the one. So football and with sort of being a good job generally, and that's how I got into physiotherapy really. Lucky but unlucky for my granddad really. So I initially worked in the NHS, but I worked in Great Ormond Street, working with sort of in the background of doing working with nurses, so nurses who injured themselves, working in the Occy Health Department at a bank, and then sort of from that point got into NHS jobs full time from there. But yeah, quite a weird way to get into NHS really, via the back door. So my first job in football was at Greenwich Borough. They don't exist anymore now, sadly, but they needed the physio, and I got sent down there on the premise of helping somebody, and my old mentor Alex said, Ali, I'm not coming tonight, you can go and do it on your own, just join your football team. And that was it. I must have been about 20 I think at the time, so just before I qualified. Terrifying when I got the phone call said he wasn't coming, but I think ultimately it's the only way he would have got me to not be under his wing his whole life. But yeah, I think, do you know what, there were a load of Bermondsey boys, bit proper South London guys, so got on like a house on fire, trial by fire, but I think it sets you up for the challenge you're going to have in football, as in if you can manage that, you can manage anything. We all went together to Fisher in the end, about a season later, but yeah, I actually really loved it because it's good down to earth boys. Manager Steve Furco was absolutely amazing with me, handled me beautifully to be honest, so great induction to football if I'm being honest. So I've always loved football. We're a football mad household, so sort of mum loves football, dad loves football, my little brother's was football mad, but always gone on telly. I think from my point of view, my love for it sort of first came when I went to go and watch my dad playing, sort of semi-pro level, and then I thought, I want to have a go at this, I want to play football, so I tried to play it. I wasn't good, I'll be honest with you, but I did try my best, but good tryer, but just not good enough. But I used to watch things like Dream Team on telly. I used to love watching Dream Team, things like that. And then I figured out who David Beckham was and was absolutely in love forever. So my uncle very kindly decided to take to see West Ham versus Man United so I could see David Beckham. Fell in love with West Ham. Got a kit in the shop afterwards, and that was that really. Massive West Ham fan ever since. All because of David Beckham. Never played for West Ham. If Beckham's watching, you can more than welcome to come and say hello to me.
We'll tag him in.
I'm definitely still in love with you.
We'll tag him in, definitely. Okay.
If I'm being honest, it's still terrifying, even though I'm doing this job 14 odd years now. I'm showing my age, but you still have that moment where your heart sinks because you know, even from 60, 70 yards away, you know how bad it is. You know something bad's happened. And I think you get that moment when the game, you go from sitting on the bench doing absolutely nothing, like not nothing, but watching the game, enjoying yourself, and suddenly you know, bam, the game's changed and it's your time to shine now. It's probably like a player taking a penalty that you think this is all on you and this is your moment to shine, but it's not the right way to shine, is it? Because I want to shine when I'm not putting an airway in somebody's throat. But I think you get that moment of fear, but then you kind of go, okay, right, this is my time now. This is my job. This is what I'm here for. You know. I think you kind of just get used to it a little bit as a physio now. I think, from my point of view, anyway. I've had a couple where I froze when I first started doing it at like 2021, but you very quickly learn that freezing doesn't help anybody. Freezing doesn't get the situation sorted out, and actually the more calm and controlled you are, the more calm and controlled the players are, and the situation becomes easier to manage when you think about it logistically. I think I work in a hospital, so I've dealt with bad things before. You know, I worked in A&E and resus before, and ITU, so that's my background as physio. So I think perhaps, you know, you go through these moments in your head again and again and again to become second nature. You can deal with your feelings afterwards, because my feelings at that moment aren't important. You know, my ego, my emotions, they aren't important. What's important is for me to do the right thing at the right time, and me being flustered doesn't help that. I sound a bit heartless when I'm saying that, but I think you kind of deal with it like, okay, right, you know, resus Annie comes out suddenly, okay, what would I do? A, B, C, D, E, you know. You go into resus training mode, you just got to deal with it at the moment as it comes. You kind of almost deal with the person afterwards, you know, and the implications of that. But if I panic, then the player involved panics, you know, the crowd panics, because if Annie's upset, it must be that bad, right? That's the impression I always get from injuries like that, is that the more I panic, the worse the situation gets, because suddenly you might have 4 players rather than just 1 to deal with. Positively, it's probably when I've won the league with Cray, most recent one. That was lovely. Just a group of players who've been together a very long time. Sort of get to the pinnacle of what we deserved, I felt, after a couple of playoff down problems. And probably also when I won the league and the cup with Dons was lovely. Again, a group of friends, people that you know very well, achieving together, you can't really beat that. I think negatively will probably be the injury we had again at Cray, which was when one of our players had an anaphylaxis reaction in the middle of the game, and I think it got very bad very quickly. We were in Bristol away on a midweek, and I remember being like, this is horrific, and I'm going to do very well to get out of this positively. And when you're sitting in a Bristol hospital at like 10 o'clock at night, thinking, how am I going to get home if the players don't wait for us in this coach? Luckily they did, but that was pretty hectic, I think, because I think no one quite knew how bad it was, because I think we had a very good game face on, but actually we were in a bit of an emergency situation where at any moment I could be getting a defib and resuscitating Reece, but he got through it, touch wood, he did really well, actually. It's got better. I think when I first started, days were atrocious. I think within your bubble of the club, it's normally really good. So, for example, Barking, where I am now, it's lovely. No one treats me differently. I think you get on with it. You're a part of a team. You're not sort of separated by who you are. You have a purpose in that team, and they respect you as a result of that. I think externally, you still get the dinosaurs, I like to call them, coming out every now and again from extinction and shouting stuff, or, you know, flashing you or trying to grab you. I think it's got a lot better recently, but every now and again it creeps its little head up again. So I think it can be difficult, it can be frustrating, it can make you angry, but ultimately I'm here to do a job, so I try and put that to the side and put, again, like in that emergency, I put my feelings to the side and think, actually, look, my boys don't need to see me upset or angry. I need to just deal with this as professionally as I can and show people that what I am is not female. I'm a physio first. And if people want to judge me for being a girl or shout up and become female, then that's on them, it's not on me. But I think it has its good days. Like, I think few and far between now I get problems. I used to get them every week back when I was sort of 20, 21 doing it. But now it's a lot better. Like, it's almost a pleasure some days. Almost. I think it's about, it's always going to be a multitude of doing different things to get people in. So you have to look at sort of making it inclusive, so making sure you've got spaces that they can use, making sure that they are encouraged to get in, that they have positive role models, people who've done it, been there, got the ticket, and they can show people how good it is. I think it is a bit about stamping up misogyny. So her game 2 is a really good example of sort of making it more women friendly. We're not trying to change the game, we're trying to make it so we can be more involved in it. We're not trying to take it away from people. It's about us saying, actually, as a woman, I have a right to come watch a game without having things shouted at me or without having sexist comments. That's the key for me. When I first started doing football, I must have been one of the only girls in it used to be the old school Kent League, but now it's a Sceffel. There are only a couple of us. And now every week there's a woman. I'm not even special anymore. It's weird, because now, before I used to be like, oh, who are you here for? You're a nurse. And you're like, no, I'm a physio. But actually now, I think you barely see men physios around. Women in physiotherapy anyway, I don't know about sports therapy and the like, but it's a profession that's dominated by females. So it's filtering down to sports now, because I think they feel safe to come and get involved. They know it's their area. It's like women refs in football. If they see people doing it, if you see people sort of waving the flag and saying, you know what, this is your right to do this. You can do, if you're good enough, come and get involved. We need you. I would like to see it a bit more upstairs, so in the Prem. You don't often see women physios in the Premier League, but I've seen personally. So hopefully everyone will start to come through a little bit now, because the younger girls are getting involved. I'm probably a little bit old now for it. But yeah, I think it's going in the right direction. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm. Big up the girls, isn't it?
Ali, thanks for your time.
That's okay, thank you.